For Trump's inauguration just 3 days from now, it's going to look a little different. Dangerously cold temperatures will force Trump's inauguration inside to the Capitol Rotunda for the first time in 40 years. The president-elect explaining on Truth, quote, "I don't want to see people hurt or injured in any way. It is dangerous conditions for the tens of thousands of law enforcement, first responders, police, canines, and even horses." Meanwhile, the left's freaking out as America's tech giants flock to the inauguration. You got the Zuck, Tim Cook, even TikTok CEO is going to be there. But joyless Joy Reid is jealous.
They increasingly help decide what news you get, what you know about the world, and even what people think and believe. And the policies that these billionaires impose on their tech platforms have real-life consequences. That's what an oligarchy looks like. The world's richest tech bros and a couple of D-list celebrities paying millions of dollars to rub elbows at Mar-a-Lago, only concerned with how they're going to make more money and how to appease Donald Trump.
So they say, Katie, it's going to be 22 degrees, but with the wind chill factor, they always got to throw the wind chill factor in there.
Yeah.
It could go into the single digits. Is it weak to go inside?
According to Fox Weather, it's going to be in the single digits, as you said, with wind chill. I don't think it's weak because, Obama's trying to take a victory lap here, and David Axelrod's like, oh, he doesn't want to have it outside because he's worried about crowd size. During the Obama inauguration, there were a number of people who got very sick and ill and almost hypothermic. Some people got hypothermia and had to be treated in the medical tent because it was held outside. So for the safety of everybody, it's probably a good idea. I feel sorry for a lot of people who have flown in who are excited to be there, to see this historic moment, this amazing American comeback in person. I wish they could have it outside, but it is going to be very, very cold. And because of the crowds, it would take a lot of people to get in. But to the tech CEO issue, I think they want to work with Trump. They're interested in having conversations, as the liberals often do. But I'm very skeptical about the reasons they're changing their perspective here. Zuckerberg especially, they're getting rid of DEI, they're getting rid of the fact checkers, and they're saying it's a new age. It is, but you also have a Department of Justice coming in where you have people like Harmeet Dillon and Leo Terrell who are going to look at these companies and sue the pants off of them for discrimination and for violating the constitutional rights of Americans through certain kinds of censorship working with the government. So it's not just all about playing nice. It's about them making sure that they're not getting sued.
Leo 2.0. They better watch out. Judge Jeanine, it does, I wouldn't say take away from the pomp and circumstance, but it's going to be different. How do you feel about going inside?
Thrilled. I can't wear enough layers under the coats that I have. Yeah, I'm sure it's a disappointment. It's a disappointment for a lot of people. I'm sure it's a disappointment for the president. But, people's health and safety matters. And at least he cares about that. I mean, there's no other reason to go inside. But I really want to talk about these tech CEOs. When we just heard Joy Reid complaining about the fact that these tech CEOs are bad, that, they're only concerned about making money and they're going to be controlling the news that we hear. Well, you didn't care about that when they were suppressing the First Amendment. You didn't care about that when they decided to deplatform us or deplatform a president. That didn't matter to you. But now that they're going to Donald Trump, it's offensive to her. And I'm sure it's racist somewhere in there. I just wasn't listening at some point. But, there's a reason. There's a couple of reasons. Look, they could make money with the Biden administration, siding with Biden, just like they can make money with the Trump administration, that it's in their business interest. I'm not saying they're going to get money from the government, but it's in their business interest. But think about it. What makes more sense for these tech CEOs to get involved with Donald Trump? Because the future is brighter with Donald Trump, because the economy is going to be better with Donald Trump, because the animal spirits are going to be higher with Donald Trump. So, don't tell me they're just doing it, to kiss his ring. Certainly, they're doing it for a business motivation, as well as the fact that they see a benefit to it. And by the way, social media is leaning right now. All of social media is leaning right. And it seems that the companies now are flipping their algorithms to lean right. And the longer they keep people on social media, obviously, the more advertising they're able to get in and the more revenue they make. So for the past year, the liberal agenda hasn't done so well for them. I think the next 4 years are going to be great. And the president, by the way, is not fooled by these tech CEOs. The president understands transactional.
Greg.
Yes.
The tech CEOs, are they afraid of getting frostbitten?
I don't know, and frankly, I don't care. I was thinking about what you said earlier about how I often make comments about people's appearance.
Yes.
And I'm not going to do that right now about Joy Reid, although everything she says is a bald-faced lie. And she's complaining about D-list celebrities. What is she, an A-list celebrity? A for asshat. By the way, you know what? I don't care if temperatures are in the single digit, because on that day, we're given a single digit to the Democrats and to idiots like Joy Reid. Although, I mean, even though the inauguration is inside, the 5 is going to be outside. And I've been talking to the producers about this, pointing out that William Henry Harrison, a president, died from pneumonia after his inauguration. And I want to ask our producers, why are you trying to kill us? What do you stand to gain by trying to have us murdered by the weather?
Well, good thing I can make a fire.
Okay.
Oh, good.
There we go.
No one believes I can make a fire?
Well,
I can make a fire if I'm given the right things to make it with.
Well, I could
Like
get an
a-
injunction.
Like a match
can I
and some
say a few
paper
words
and some
about this?
kindling.
Mind if I say a few words about
What do you want to talk about, Harold? Honestly,
I just want to respond
you
to,
make
the,
a fire?
to the topic that we're talking about here. I think
I
just
doubt
two
you
quick
can make a
things.
fire.
Two quick things. I
do you
think
know Joy
everybody
Reid, Harold?
I think everybody should
good
take
friend.
everybody should take the win here. It's a tradition. Business people and politicians talk. The most important investors in innovation and growth are these tech and innovation leaders. So I'm not surprised by it. I will say this, though. We talked about the billionaire stuff yesterday. In 2017, when President Trump was inaugurated, the number one person on the Forbes 400 list for billionaires is Bill Gates at $89 billion. Today, the top is Elon Musk. He has $244 billion. In 2017, Gates, his $89 billion would have ranked him 20th, I believe, or 15th or 20th on the list, right around where Bloomberg is today. Yet the median income in the country in 2017 was $61,000. The average household in 2024, it's $80,000. President Trump won because he upended the model. He got more working class voters. He ate into the minority vote with Democrats. If he is to succeed, he's got to be able to represent that $80,000 a year household as much as he represents that $244 billion household, Elon Musk. That's the challenge, and that's the rub.
He will.
He
Hey,
will.
can somebody
I'm
tell
not
Harold
challenging
this
you.
isn't
I'm
Fox
saying that's
business?
A lot of numbers, Harold.
Yeah.
Jesus, it's Friday, for God's sake.
Yeah.
You're going to be so bundled up, by the way. You know he's going to have a parka. He's going to have
Yeah.
6
I'm gonna be
sets of
ready.
You're
gloves.
going to have warmers under your suit. I know you.
Yeah, you're going to.
Yeah.
Warmers under
You're
my
gonna be
suit.
like,
Well, we're
makes you, Harold?
outside.
You look at this.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, but no, we're going to be outside, and I can't fit
I'm going to
everything
be
under
wherever
my
Greg
coat.
is. I think we're going inside.
Yeah, well, we're going to go to Chippendales first. And get you a bow tie.
Oh, boy.
You want some more numbers?
Won't tie that.
You want some more
Get
numbers?
ready for
No.
bleach in your eyes. Kathy Hochul's Geezer Dance Squad. That's right.
Breaking news just moments ago, a source confirming to Fox News that President-elect Trump and Vice President-elect J.D. Vance will be sworn in indoors at Monday's inauguration. I believe this is only the second time this has happened. The last time it happened was 1985 with none other than Ronald Reagan. There are dangerously cold temperatures that are moving into the region, and it will be the coldest inauguration in 40 years. Hello, everyone. This is Outnumbered. I'm Kayleigh McEnany here with my co-host, Emily Campagno. Also joining us, Lisa Booth, Fox News contributor, Kayleigh McGee-White, editor-in-chief of Independent Women's Forum, and Todd Pyro, Fox and Friends First co-host. Well, senior White House correspondent Peter Ducey is live from the South Lawn with this pretty big news this hour. It's cold there. I see you in a jacket, about to get colder, and inauguration indoors, Peter.
Yes, it is cold here, but just know that when you see the White House position, we do have a space heater right here. So it's never too cold here. However, way too cold for everybody that is going to be attending the inauguration on Monday. I'm just off the phone with somebody who works for the president-elect, a source familiar, who confirms that the swearing in and the inaugural address will happen inside the U.S. Capitol dome. And then President-elect Trump is confirming on Truth Social that everything else is going to move into Capital One Arena. We knew that on Sunday there was going to be a Capital One Arena rally with J.D. Vance speaking, Donald Trump speaking, the Village People and Kid Rock were going to perform. Now that is going to be a viewing party for a lot of the folks that are in town, but that seats about 20,000 or fewer of the attendees. That is a much smaller crowd than they would be expecting on the entire National Mall, and so we're not sure what exactly the plan is for overflow in this dangerous cold. President Trump is saying on Truth Social, though, that it is important that everyone will be safe, everyone will be happy, and we will together make America great again. That happens as the current president, Joe Biden, is giving us some good breadcrumbs about what exactly it is he plans to write on his farewell note to Donald Trump, the one that he will leave in the Resolute desk drawer.
I really am concerned about how fragile democracy is. That sounds corny, but I mean, I really am concerned because you've heard me say it 100 times. I really think we're at an inflection point in history here.
President Biden revealed last night he and Trump have not been speaking about the hostage deal, even though their teams have been projecting a united front in negotiations publicly. And just because the Biden legacy may wind up being that he was the guy sandwiched between Trump terms, he is insisting he does not have any ill will.
I'm so proud of how much we've accomplished together for the American people. And I wish the incoming administration success because I want America to succeed. That's why I've held my duty to ensure a peaceful and orderly transition of power, to ensure we lead by the power of our example.
NBC has a widely circulated item this afternoon that says the West Wing feels like a morgue right now. I've spent some time in the West Wing today. I would say it's less like a morgue and more like the last day of school. There are a lot of people standing around, turning off their phones, unplugging their computers, and heading out at the end of the term. Kaylee?
Yeah, it's a tough time. That space heater, I remember it, Peter. It is very warm. So stay warm there by the space heater.
Yeah,
And thanks for those
we'll be
details.
okay. Yeah.
You'll be okay. All right, well, this just in. On Truth Social, President Trump has confirmed some new details. So listen to this. January 20th cannot come fast enough. Everybody, even those that have initially, one moment, it just dropped from our prompter here. Donald J. Trump and the administration just want it to happen. It is my obligation to protect the people of our country. But before we even begin, we have to think of the inauguration itself, the weather forecast for D.C., the wind chill factor could take temperatures into record lows. There's an Arctic blast sweeping the country. He goes on to say, I have ordered the inaugural address, in addition to prayers and other speeches, to be delivered in the United States Capitol Rotunda, as was used by Ronald Reagan in 1985, also because of very cold weather. And he goes on to confirm what Peter Doocy just reported, that we will open Capital One Arena on Monday for live viewing of this historic event and to host the presidential parade. I will join the crowd at Capital One after my swearing in. It's a long Truth Social. Those are some of the details, Emily. And as we look at this, this has happened twice from what I've researched, 1909 with Howard Taft and then 1985 with Ronald Reagan. And what's interesting to me is the Ronald Reagan comparison, because not only is the inauguration indoors, you have the hostage release, really right before Trump comes in. You had the assassination attempt, Ronald Reagan as well. Trump is kind of a Reagan-esque president in more ways than one.
And I think that what this represents, too, is that you don't have to do something just because that's how it was always done. Here's a president that, to me, hallmarks his decision-making in the same way, which is, let me assess the current situation. Here are the factors. It's not tenable to be outside, so we're going to move it inside. I mean, we see this stuff often with other large events, and I think the reality is that the storied history of this and the solemnity and the iconography that we're all going to be watching and how important and crucial this event is, all of that remains the same. And now everyone's going to be a lot more comfortable. And we don't have to look at Bernie Sanders memes and mittens on, right? The reality is we have here in New York, we're expecting temperatures colder than 2 years past, I believe, historically. So he's absolutely right to protect those Americans that are going to see this historic and wonderful event. So bravo for making a common sense decision that will, in the long run, protect a lot of Americans.
And that Reagan inauguration, Todd, it was 7 degrees. The wind chill was in the -20s. This temperature, they say, will be in the 20s. I'm sure colder if you consider wind. But, I bring this up because I've been to many Trump rallies. I remember being in Battle Creek, Michigan, where there were just snow everywhere. It did not deter the Trump crowd from waiting outside. This is an energized group. I think they're going to come and enjoy the moment regardless.
Oh, without a doubt. They've been waiting for this moment for 4 years. Every single day they've been pining for the return of Donald J. Trump, and now they have it. But I agree with Emily so much because it's such a metaphor for what we expect the next 4 years to be. And we got a preview of it when you were in the administration during Trump 1, is that just because D.C. has a tradition and just because the ruling elite class says this is the way it's done, doesn't mean it necessarily has to be that way. Common sense should always rule the day, not hey, this is the way we've always done it in D.C. That's what Donald Trump's going to bring to the table in this 4 years, much like he did the previous 4. I want to add one more thing that I thought was important in this Truth Social post. He makes a clear point to say this is also about the safety of those first responders that need to be out there for the entire day. There's going to be a lot of attention following the events of New Orleans and the fact that this is such a major event. We need to make sure that those first responders are protected, and this is one way of doing that.
Excellent point. And to talk about, aberrational, doing things differently, Lisa, the rally the day before is interesting. You don't have most presidents who do that. He confirms in this Truth Social. That's happening 3 p.m. Sunday. Doors open at 1 p.m. That's never deterred the camp out crowd from camping out the night before.
Well, we know Trump, he likes to go his own way, but it's not just about the safety of the first responders. It's also about his safety.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a guy who has faced 2 attempted assassinations, one that went through his ear. He could have died if just for a slight turn of the head. So this is also safer for him. Also, as someone who is planning on going, I do have a little bit of a sigh of relief. I live in Florida now. I've gotten really soft on the weather, and I was worried about, freezing to go watch history be made. So at least I don't have to worry about that. But to your point, add this to the long list of parallels between Ronald Reagan and Donald Trump. One with Jimmy Carter and Joe Biden both being failed presidents, one-term presidents failing on the economy, also on foreign relations. You look at the Iran hostage crisis that you had talked about, 444 days, 52 Americans held at the embassy in Iran. And they were released on the day that Ronald Reagan was inaugurated. Now we're seeing success with Donald Trump and the release of hostages that Hamas has held, and just this new era that will be ushered in for America, which we're all very excited about. So
yeah, and
thank God for that.
To the point of security, this does make it, a little safer. We knew there were security concerns, as there are at every inauguration. The Secret Service said we have a no-fail mission. I'm sure they're taking that very seriously in the wake of 2 assassination attempts. When you look at the list of those not going, Kaylee, we know Nancy Pelosi's not going. We don't know why. She did just have a hip replacement. Michelle Obama not attending again. Don't know the exact rationale. But, when you look at this and you think about it, their decision not to go. However, is it a tone-deaf decision? Is it one in which you missed the 77 million Americans that showed up and said, this is our guy?
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that Trump and Melania didn't go to Biden's inauguration. So I don't think it's necessary for political leaders to necessarily go to their rival's inauguration. However, they can't use the weather as an excuse this time around. I'm also planning on being there, and I get to now cancel my order for an electric heated vest. So I'm kind of excited
That's a
about
great
that.
idea.
Yeah, I was
wouldn't even-
prepared. I was ready.
That's
I will
smart.
say, I do hope that the Trump transition team makes an effort to have as many people inside the rotunda for the swearing in as possible. I know a lot of people were looking forward to going to that. I'm planning on bringing my dad. He was the first guy ever that I heard of in 2016 who told me as soon as Trump went down that escalator, Donald Trump is going to win the White House. So I know he's really looking forward to that moment as well. And, it's not just Donald Trump's moment. It's the Trump voters' moment as well, that they get to see this return to the White House and they get to see this agenda implemented finally. And so I think it's a really hopeful day and one everyone's looking forward to.
Yeah, without question. Todd, and when I think about it, the supporters, they are a robust group. They're an excited group. I think they understand and they're going to show up regardless. It's a huge event. And a lot of them, I've been looking on Twitter. It's like there are hourly, minute countdowns among supporters saying we are ready for this, rain, shine, wind, whatever it may be.
Well, that's why I think it's important that Donald Trump issued this Truth Social post so soon after the news came out on our air and other networks, because you want to control the narrative on this. You want Donald Trump to be out there saying, hey, I'm doing this for you. I know it's not traditional. I know it's not what we expected. But trust me, this is the best course of action, because those people who've pined for this for so long are going to say, OK, at the end of the day, we may not get to watch this the way we originally thought, but The moment he puts his hand on that Bible, whether it's inside, outside, on the moon, or somewhere else, he's going to be the president, and that's what's important for us.
It's on like Donkey Kong.
Thank you.
And he will be making that appearance at Capital One Arena, so he will not fail to see his supporters.
Let's bring in Alina Habba. Alina obviously was one of the top attorneys for the incoming president in his legal cases, and she will now serve as a counselor at the White House to President-elect Trump. Alina, I think there's probably a little bit of disappointment that we won't see the incoming president outside on that platform taking the oath of office. I wonder, do you know if they will be walking up at all up Pennsylvania Avenue, or will people be able to see them outside?
Yeah, my understanding at this point, and obviously it's a moving target, but the first and foremost, the president is only concerned with safety. It is actually cold. I'm in D.C. It's dramatically colder than it was in New York here, and obviously we have a cold front coming. So we don't want anyone uncomfortable. He will be sworn in the Capitol. There will be projections of that on screens, is my understanding, and he'll speak at a different location where he's holding a rally the day before, so that people will get to see him as well. So, you know, it's really not just about him. It's more about the American people. And he wants to make sure everybody's happy, comfortable, and able to watch it. And I think that this will actually turn out to be for the best, because people were concerned with how cold it was going to be. I think the last I heard was going to be 10 degrees.
Yeah, we're just watching the walk from the last inauguration, and always an exciting part, but it'll be beautiful in the rotunda for sure. Eric Adams, when I spoke with him just a few weeks ago, I did ask him if he had asked President Trump for a pardon or to consider that, which President Trump at one point said he would consider, he would think about it. Here's what Eric Adams said at that point on December 18th.
I did not ask him that, and in our conversations, we both expressed our love for the city, and you know, the years he was in office, they were combated. I'm working with the president and his administration, not warring with him. I say that quote over and over again.
Working with, not warring with, and we got news of thousands of commutations from President Biden this morning. Do you think a pardon for Eric Adams might be in the works, Alina?
No, I don't think any of that's being discussed as of yet. And I think that there is one thing being discussed, and that is the demise of New York and what we saw through the cases, the AGs and DAs in New York, as you know, and as I'm particularly familiar with President Trump. I think his focus is to bring all kinds of people, all sides of politics together, and fix the city that once was great and bring it back up to where it needs to be. Eric Adams is the mayor. He needs to step up. He has work to do, and I'm glad that he's communicating with the president about that.
Alina, thank you very much. Obviously, big days to come and a big job ahead for you as you head to the White House to serve the incoming president. It's good to see you, and we'll see you soon. Stay warm in Washington this weekend.
Thank you, Martha.
A union boss attending an inauguration for a Republican president. But that's exactly what Teamsters General President Sean O'Brien will be doing on Monday. And Sean joins us now. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. I would like to consider myself a union leader, not a union boss.
Okay, great. I understand. And I understand the terminology, and I don't blame you for that clarification. You know, what's interesting is that, you know, we saw this sort of, there were two polls, right? The Teamsters last year, initial one, Trump versus Biden. Biden came out on top. But then after Trump took over and Harris was put in, overwhelmingly Teamster members, 59.6% endorsed Trump versus just 34% for Harris. Of course, there was no official endorsement, but this was seen as a major victory for President Trump with respect to your organization. What do you look to achieve now as you go attend this inauguration?
Well, there were three different polls, and the one that Biden won was an in-person poll at 319 union halls. But the remaining polls were done electronically and with professional pollsters. But what we're looking to achieve is, look, we've got an agenda that's behalf of 1.3 million of our members. We want to make certain that we have a seat at the table regardless of who's in charge. And, you know, that's why we're going to be there. Yeah. I live there, so I'll take a walk up the street and see what's going on.
Well, President Trump has a domestic economy agenda. He's focused on the domestic economy. He wants to bring jobs back. That's got to naturally dovetail to what you would like to see for your own union, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, we want as many American jobs back here. We want union jobs. We want good middle-class jobs. And, you know, we look at trade agreements done in 1993 at NAFTA and other bad deals that were made under the Democratic leadership. And hopefully these jobs are restored, manufacturing is brought back to the United States, and we prosper again as a middle class.
Yeah, well, we see the evidence of reshoring and onshoring, not seeing a lot of it necessarily in the manufacturing data. You had a big victory with this UPS strike and the raise. In fact, there was a big joke that everyone was going to go on Halloween dressed as a UPS driver. That's how rich they were. The central issue seems to be technology now with unions, trying to get ahead of this big shift in technology that could hurt your jobs. Is that something you'll be talking to President Trump about?
Yeah, I mean, I think we've been having that talk all along with everybody that'll listen to us. I think most recently a demonstration of President Trump is when he supported the ILA workers who were threatened by these big shippers who were making billions of dollars trying to replace their jobs with artificial intelligence and automation. That's important to us. We want to make certain that we protect as many middle-class jobs. We realize technology is coming, but we also have the ability to create jobs as a result of this technology. So we are going to be lobbying hard. And again, we want a seat at the table, and President Trump has given us that ability to sit down and have dialogue on behalf of our members and working people across America.
Well, I got to tell you, you are a great leader for being able to do this, for being able to look beyond politics as usual and doing the best thing for the men and women that are under your leadership. So we appreciate that. Can't wait to talk to you after the inauguration. Thanks a lot.
Hey everyone, I'm Emily Campagno. Catch me and my co-hosts Harris Faulkner and Kaylee McEnany on Outnumbered every weekday at 12 p.m. Eastern, or set your DVR. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page for daily highlights.